Hello. Okay, so a while back on Twitter, I seen that people talking about Rouge, and I didn't know why. So it was this post, somebody made some fan art, and then it showed Rouge, her original design, and then it showed her looking inside of a mirror, and then it shows her newest design. So what I didn't know at first, thanks to Twitter, I know now, is the fact that Sega redesigned Rouge. Not redesign, but you know what they did to Lola Bunny and Space Jams? That's what they did to rougethebat. Okay, so first off, they are mad because her clothes cover her backside now. A lot of people was talking about that, and that it looked like they reduced Rouge's breast size, and I think I know why they did that. You see, it's people on YouTube, like some people, or in general the Sonic community, they like to put emphasize or talk about Rouge's breast all the time. It's just like a thing that they've been talking about for years, and it's just hard to really get into. But people have been talking about the Rouge having big breasts. It became a joke within the Sonic community. Not just a joke, but like, I think it was just a bunch of people just had a thing for Rouge because of that reason. Even people who watch Sonic X would talk about the size of Rouge's breasts, and it's just like, that was one thing that just, I ain't got nothing against it, but at the time I just got tired of hearing about that all the time, Can we talk about something else other than her breast? But anyways, Sega then got rid of her big breast, and she has a new voice actor, which I didn't know, because I haven't been playing Modern Sonic for a while. So if you guys are familiar with Rouge, and a lot of you guys are, and yeah, this has made the Sonic community, or like, I guess other people outside of the community, it caused in like uproar or something. And I'm just like, I'm not really a fan of Rouge, but I would say this, like, they didn't have to get rid of her voice. Like, her voice was perfect. The person who played her in Sonic X, I think I got used to that one. But her voice, most of the time, it wasn't always so very high and hard to handle to listen to. The new voice actor, I don't even know what she's doing, but the voice doesn't fit the character, and Sega got the nerves to hire somebody like that, Now I ain't got nothing against it, but it just sounds so out of place. It does not sound good. But this is crazy. And like, they didn't have to change her outfit covering her back because it don't even make any sense. And reducing the breast size. I'm like, kids aren't paying attention to that. Anyways, they just play the game. Most people who was talking about her breast was like the older Sonic fans, not the kid Sonic fans, And then, like, at the same time, I don't think this was just really necessary. But yeah. It's like the little bunny situation, basically. So, back in Space Jam 2, people know that it was an outcry over it because they got rid of Lola Bunny original design and gave her a new one, but she still looks the same. She just has reduced wrist size. But it's still the same character. I really just don't get it. Like, that was crazy too, but at the same time though, I don't know, it's just hard to get into that, and I'm really not going to get into that right now. But if you want me to, I can, if you guys want to make a video on it. But Sega, if they cared so much, why is it just now that they decided to take action against it after so many years, since it was such a huge problem, you know? Oh boy. Okay, so hold on. Okay. Yeah, the only people that's complaining about this is like older Sonic fans that just have some type of attraction to rougethebat, and I feel like that's the majority of the people who's having an outcry over this. Is the people who find her attractive. Okay, so no offense to that, and that's fine. If you like Rouge, that is completely fine. But if that's the only thing that you like about the character, then that's a problem, because like I said before, a character's appearance, I mean, in a way you can define a character appearance does contribute to a part of the character, but the traits and like the attributes is the main thing, you know. And so if something like this really just bother you over your personal tastes, then you kind of got like some type of problem, you know. The only reason why it bothers me is the fact that, like, first of all, they took several years to address this stuff. That's what bothers me. Not only that, but nobody is really paying attention to the design. The only people who's paying attention to the design is like the older fans, and I think like the people who just like playing Sonic games, they're just gonna play Sonic games, you know, just to play it. Nobody's paying attention to like Rouge's appearance that much, unless you're just much older or something in the Sonic community. Because that's who I see majority talking about Rouge, is the older Sonic fans, and they've been like this for years. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying. So yeah. Yeah, but majority of this, it comes down to people complaining about her breasts not being big enough. It's because it's some people in the fandom that was only like Rouge because of her body type, I guess. it comes down to that. Not only that, but some people probably genuinely like that Rouge was designed, and it's really not a bad thing. My problem is the fact that people is majority like making it seem like she's a bad character just because her body got redesigned or something like that. Now she's a bad character. Like, dude, it's still the same character, it's just like modified. And my only problem is what took them so long to like address it. And I'm not even saying that like, because there ain't nothing wrong with having tasteful character designs, there's nothing wrong, but like, I feel like, you know what, I don't really think it was really necessary for them to do that, because nobody actually pays attention to Rouge's character design in a way. Like, the players, like kids most of the time, or teens, they're just playing the game. It's just the older fans that is doing that. But they probably wanted to go in a way where the game can be more like appropriate for all ages, so they adjusted her design, because this isn't the first time they did something like this before. You know, before games come overseas, they adjust the female designs so that it won't be such a problem for everybody. Yeah, so they adjust like the character designs. This happened like before with some Nintendo games where they complained and said that the female character designs was too sexualized, so they changed it. It's probably the same in Japan, but when it comes overseas, they like adjusted it so that it can meet the standards of Western audiences and stuff, I guess. Even though some people is okay with it, Sega probably trying to like adjust their games where so it can be more like, her design can be more like fitting and stuff, to avoid like, to be honest, nowadays when it comes to anime and Japanese video games, anime has been like censoring their stuff, or they have been adjusting their series where like they make it like some changes to adjust to the modern time so that Western audiences can enjoy the series better, you know, even the Japanese audience too. So I don't know if they do it in Japan though. They do that like adjusting their shows for the modern audience, since it's a modern time now. I'm guessing Sega is trying to reach that same standard they got now, where they gotta like adjust their games a certain way to fit the Western market, or they just wanted to like modernize their stuff. Like back then, anything went. It was different back then, you know, the standards were different. Not a lot of people cared about certain stuff, but nowadays, like, since everything is at the point where you have to make stuff more, it's hard to explain, but you gotta get with the program. That's what I'm saying. And for the longest, you know, people were complaining about video game characters being sexualized, and then like Western games, Western things, when Japanese games come overseas, they've been talking about how the Western industry is censoring the games because of how the character designs look, mainly females, how sexualized they are. They've been doing this for years, but now it's gotten to a point where you have to meet the standards in order to get your game out there, you know. It's not necessarily going to be like not sold, but I guess they gotta meet the standards in order to get to the Western market nowadays. or something. Like it always been where maybe Sega wanted to take the approach where they can just like change her design in order to avoid all the having to go back and edit things out. So instead they probably just edited or adjusted Rouge's character design to avoid censorship. That's what I'm guessing. But yeah, that's what I think about this whole situation. I do feel like that the character design, like the change to Rouge, was not very necessary. I don't think it was. Kind of annoyed at the fact that Sega just, after all these years, if it was such a big problem, why are y'all just not changing the character design? You know? Not only that, but I feel like the only people who pay attention to her design is the older fans that do that stuff. That's it. I don't think a lot of, well, probably some teens, but I don't think they care that much about her design, how she looks, or like kid fans. They really don't care either. They just play the games. There's some people that just play the games and they don't really care about the designs of the characters. But yeah, this situation is crazy. Not only did they cover up her backside, they pushed her chest up and covered it up a bit, you know, and they changed their voice. And they, like, I'm guessing the people thought that her voice was too like raspy or something, or it was just like making the fans really more attracted to her, so they just decided to give her a different voice, like to be more selfish, and they didn't do it any justice either. They made the character unbearable to listen to, and that doesn't even sound like Rouge. And to be honest, that doesn't even sound like Rouge. It sounds like they just hired anybody. The last time we had a good Rouge voice actor was probably in Sonic X or Heroes and Sonic Adventure. I don't know though. That's just my opinion. But let me know what you guys think about Sega redesigning Rouge and Rouge getting a Lola Bunny treatment. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in the next video.